3 short games. Just as a note at the top, other long-form stuff is still pending, but I just wanted to make this to get myself working on shorter essays and projects. That's sort of the theme, as you'll see in a moment. If you like what I do, you can support this channel by subscribing, liking the video, sending me a tip on Ko-fi, or pledging to my sponsors. Special thanks to Danny Spoonlord and Janiyah Riley for their generous support. Content warning for mention of dysphoria and COVID-19, as well as brief discussion of death and horror in and involving outer space, grief, isolation, contagions, and weird mushrooms that can eat people. I wanted to write about 3 short games I played recently that I enjoyed. All of them were bite-sized experiences, sort of like reading a novella or watching a movie, but I think that adds to the strength of all of these works. They aren't very long and don't outstay their welcome, but they tell pleasant, if not powerful, stories with the time they use. I picked up all of these games through the Queer Games Bundle 2021 Pay What You Can version, but I've included their individual itch pages on the screen and in the description of this video. They are The Question by Colinar, I Need Space by Hugo Bailey, aka Euralis, and Long Journey Home by Skiddy Hale. Reviews help games on itch a lot, so if you play these games and enjoy them, please don't forget to rate and review the game on its itch.io page. The Question. This short kinetic novel does not take very long to play at all. There are a few small choices, but other than that, the game centers around the tension of a girl named Carrie asking someone named Hansa who she likes out, who has a surprising response. This game was made in a day using some asset packs for a game jam, and I definitely love the idea of putting together a short little story you want to tell with pre-made sprites and backgrounds. It makes creating a kinetic or visual novel a lot easier for people looking to get into the genre. The core conceit of the story is cute, but because the gameplay is so short, here's a warning. If you don't want me to spoil a game that takes 3 minutes to finish, please skip to the timestamp on screen. Basically, when Carrie asks Hamza out, she thinks that she's asking a very hot, sporty guy out, but Hamza is actually struggling with gender dysphoria and comes out to Carrie as non-binary. It's a very heartfelt interaction where Hamza expresses anxiety to Carrie, who promises to support them in their journey regardless of whether or not Hamza is the hot guy Carrie expected. I just thought it was sweet. You can pick up The Question at the link in the description or by checking out colinar.itch.io. I Need Space. This game is very simple. You are a spaceship that can push itself off of planets. Once you are launched, you can do nothing to control your flight. You are aiming to land on the planet with a flag. As you progress through levels, obstacles like aliens trying to abduct you or black holes that can warp you across the map are added, but most of the experience lies in learning about and adjusting for the differing gravitational pulls of the planets you're launching yourself away from or past. This results in some incredibly exhilarating experiences as you launch yourself across the depths of space, hoping you are caught in the gravitational well of planets to reach your goal. I found myself genuinely giddy as I shot the spaceship off a planet and watched it whirl in loops around the screen, pulled this way and that by the gravity of each body. Again, it does not take that long to finish this game. Nonetheless, it is well worth a try because of the sheer joy of its gameplay. I completed its levels in about half an hour, but you can screw around and play with gravity for a lot longer than that. Pick it up by checking out euralis.itch.io. Long Journey Home. This game centers around the only 2 surviving members of a research expedition into space. As you progress through the text-based adventure on the ship, you find out why they are the only 2 survivors and how they feel about their crewmates and mission. The main characters, Sykes and Ramona, are non-binary and sapphic respectively, and their identities strike me as the result of a queer author just writing about people. It covers the grief of losing people suddenly to a mistake, and friendships, and hard decisions. That's all I can really say without being spoilery because the story is so short, so skip to the timestamp on screen if you don't want to hear how the story goes. The spaceship Ramona co-pilots and Sykes does research on has been studying alien life forms, among other things. One of the other researchers on board did not practice proper lab safety and got infected with a mushroom that eats organic life, which spread rapidly through the ship. Sykes was saved by their own lab safety, but deeply regrets not insisting their coworker follow the same procedure. Ramona did not leave the cockpit, but her co-pilot Jules did. Now that Jules is dead, Ramona wrestles with her feelings towards the other woman. Both people have to confront what they will do with the bodies of those on board before they can start the long journey back to Earth. There is a warning on the game page that states that while this game was made prior to the onset of the current situation we find ourselves in, it has themes such as isolation and the rapid spread of a contagion that are starkly relevant now. The writing is hard-hitting, and the way the player must click into specific words to get elaboration from inside the heads of the two main characters is a really neat way to expand on the grief they feel. It's a little story box that you unravel carefully, a small story about being human. This one took me about under an hour to finish. Grab the game at skiddyhail.itch.io. Also, as a quick note, there is a game on Steam under the name The Long Journey Home, which is not this game. I'm sure it's a good game. It just isn't the one I'm talking about. Well, that's the 3 games. I played them in an afternoon while I had a bit of a void day, mentally. I've been trying to consume more things just for fun, but I couldn't help myself from having a little mini book report, game report, on these guys. Again, I highly recommend you pick up these games just to have a short little experience. Sometimes it's nice to not spend forever and ever on something. Honestly, I think the idea of shorter games that don't need to have hundreds of hours of gameplay experience is a good thing to have, especially shorter games made by indie creators. I Need Space is a queer game only in the sense that it was made by a queer creator, and yet it was an exhilarating experience. I know I already used that adjective, but it was a good one. I want shorter games with worse graphics by people who are paid more to work less, and I am not kidding. For real. The reason I sat down to make this essay was because I just enjoyed the fact that these games were not long. They were just pleasant to sit down and experience in one way or another. And to that end, if you buy and try these games, please leave a rating. It'll help the devs a lot, and we'll get more short games that hopefully pay their creators well without having a buttload of crunch and overwork behind them. As always, if you liked what you heard, please subscribe and give the video a like. I will probably be doing more of these smaller quick guys, so let me know in the comments what you thought of this format. If you want to support the channel and my future endeavors, you can tip me on Ko-fi or pledge on Sponsus, both of which are at Blendit Media. Special thanks to our top sponsors, Janiyah Riley and Danny Spoonlord, as well as Sina Mari and Space Cadet for their generous support. See you next time!